Hey, it's Steve Zalunardo here with Treviso Realty. We usually do these on Monday, but I want to just excited to announce these new products that we're offering right now because it's been about a year and a half to 2 years. We couldn't really sell great investment properties where the cash flow was actually great and the ROI and all that good stuff. So right now we're offering these great little townhouses. Again, easy buy-in. You need 30% down, so it's like $60,000 to $70,000 down. We got an 8% cash-on-cash return on investment. So it's basically net annual income divided by down payment, like the money you put into it. It's 8% return, which is fantastic. And then you're calculating the gross annual rent. The cap rate is 11.45%, which is fantastic. These are great numbers. Just imagine you giving your financial advisor at your local bank saying, I'm going to give you 8% on a treasury bond. Not to mention the appreciation that's going to be gained in the property, also the mortgage paydown. So there's like plus, right? But we're having conversations with clients right now based on this, and what the goal is clearly is how good the situation is currently right now. Because look, if you bought one property, because everybody wants to make Bitcoin money, it doesn't exist. I don't understand it, and I don't put money in anything I don't understand. Warren Buffett's book taught me that, if you don't understand it, you don't do it. And that kept me out of a lot of trouble. I understand real estate, and it's always a long period of time. But if we're producing a video, it's going to be something about our life, the process between up north, middle period of 2020, and then ultimately into the state of Florida. But you'll see a lot of some of the investments that we did. We're making 500% return on cash invested into the properties. Some of them were 570%. So you kind of see, we put in 100 where we're getting 5 times our money back. So it was 100 grand, we got 500K back. This is how, and this was obviously built up over time. If it was 1, 3 to 5 years, but it was 5 times the money, you never saw it, obviously. And that's just calculating the actual investment itself, like cash return, but not on the mortgage paydown, which will bring those rates up higher. And this is the theory we want to put down here in Florida based on the circumstances that we're seeing. And I'm going to tell you why it makes it an attractive period. And this is not no salesman bullshit chat. This is literally the real deal. If you look at it, let's look at this chart. And what I'm trying to advise clients, so it's a long-term game, clearly. If we basically bought one of these townhouses and you've owned it for 10 years, let's just say, okay? So 10 years of ownership. So you bought it for $220. So it's good. And we did a very nominal, very slow appreciation rate, not to like overpromise and never deliver. I'd rather underpromise and overdeliver, but just at a very gradual 3% per annum appreciation. In 10 years, you're going to be at $300,000 for the property. Your mortgage will be paid down to about 100K. You got 200 G's in this property. But even by, like, let's say at this period, year 5, where you have, let's say, $200,000 in equity built into this property, or $120,000 in equity, maybe around this point here, and again, appreciation is higher, refi. You refi every 5 to 6 years, you pull out the money and you buy another unit. The good thing about real estate, it's always pregnant. And this is what I used to say. This was like my conversation with myself. It's basically every property you buy is pregnant, and the only difference is instead of giving birth in 9 months, it gives birth in five years, let's just say that. So ultimately, it'll give birth to a new property, which will obviously give you your cash back in your hand, your initial capital, and you can buy another property. So if you just set this aside, let's say you have to come up with $66,000 in US dollars clearly right now, and in 5 years it's going to rebirth you another property. You forget about that money, and then remember, when you get the second property going, remember that one's going to get refied. You might refi both of those properties at the same time to multiply. So this is like a multiplier effect going forward, and that's the whole goal, is to build a nice portfolio. Because like these units, if they're renting around $2K a month right now, if you get them down to, and they're already $500 a month passive income, you get them down to 100 grand, like your mortgage is going to be, I don't know, at 775, it's going to be $700. It's maybe all in like $900 to $1,000 a month, let's just say that, and then this is $1,000 of cash flowing property. So just to kind of keep that in mind. And another thing why they're attractive, we did a podcast with our buddy Joe DeMarco at Hartford Funding, rather. Watch that podcast. I kind of go in depth with it. But look, when we got down here originally in 2022, we bought our first property. That was cash flowing $500 of passive income a month, which was perfect. And those rates were like 3.7-ish, around there. We ended up closing, I think, around 4 and change. So it kind of brought the passive income down a bit, but not too much. But it was fine. But the problem is that we bought not totally at the high time, but we were in bidding wars. I guess it was sort of almost probably descending at that point, but still pretty much at the high point. It was okay because the rates were low and you're cash flowing. What happened was the house prices stayed high and then the rates went really high. So then you were, like a foreign national or naturalized American citizen is between 7 and 8% for a secondary property or investment property. So that offset everything, and you're paying for the property. You're paying to own this property, which doesn't make sense. It's not a luxury property. You're not using it as a vacation. So it doesn't make sense for an investment purpose. What you want is these properties that pay for you. And the good thing is right now, rates have stayed high. So we're like between 7 and 8%, but the values have come down. So what that's done is that when you buy these properties at such a low value at a high rate, properties start to cash flow. Rents have not really changed too much, so now you're getting into a cash flow positive property. And the good thing is you're buying at such a lower price than, let's say, the height of the market. This rate will need to change. It has to. Jerome Powell, Mr. JP, ultimately there's a lot of stress and pressure on him from the Trump administration that's got to lower these rates down. If you're seeing the rest of the world, everyone's adjusting their policy rates. If it's Canada, if it's the UK, parts of Europe, China, like Asia Pacific, Australia, New Zealand, everyone's dropping their policy rates clearly for the times. And the American governments, or the American banker here, Jerome Powell, Treasury Secretary, whatever he is, ultimately he's holding these rates high, and now he's going to have to start dropping these down. But the reality is, when you buy them at such a low price, these things come down in interest rates. Like, you're going to come into a property that's going to flow at maybe $100 to $1,200 a month on these small little properties, and then you'll see your mortgage pay down, where we're basically kind of like building this 10-year model on just at 7.75%. Imagine if this is at 5%, how much more passive income you're going to have and how much more you're going to pay down the property. Just a thought for today. You want more information regarding these properties, let me know. You can direct message me, or you can book a strategy meeting in our Calendar app here, and then it's in the link rather, and we can go through with you guys. But have a great weekend.